ISIS has created a net of communication and a communication system that could be comparable with a big company or a big institution, even a country. Includes a department of press releases, a department of infographics. They also release 4 magazines in Western languages, including one in English, one in French, one in Turkish, and another one in Russian. They also release one magazine in Arabic. They have their own website. They also have created like 3 global audiovisual producers, which are called Al Hayat, Al Furqan, and Al Intisam, which have like a global audience. And they also have developed a net of 34 audiovisual producers that include, of course, all the regions of Iraq and Syria, but also regions in Africa, in Russia, in Philippines, the last one. So there are like 34 regional audiovisual producers in charge of segmenting the message of ISIS in different countries and in different languages. ISIS released most of their audiovisual campaigns in the time of maximum audience in the time of Europe and the Middle East. I mean, most of the campaigns start like at 4 p.m. and end like at 10 p.m. So the campaigns last about 6 hours. That's the average of the campaign. Most of these campaigns are released by Twitter because it's quite simple to create anonymous accounts. And at the beginning, they use like normal accounts that have been created specifically for this campaign. So they create like specific accounts for each campaign. And at the end of the campaign, they use bots in order to give more magnitude to the campaign. The average number of accounts used in every campaign is between 400 and 500. And the audience that each campaign reaches, it's around 100,000 Twitter accounts. ISIS have 2 kinds of messages. One of them is like positive messaging that it's aimed most of them to the regions where they have control, especially Raqqa in Syria and Nineveh in Al-Anbar in Iraq. Those messages show ISIS as an institution that has a good governance, that provides services to the population, that delivers justice, that provides security. So those are the positive messages of ISIS. On the other hand, we have like the messages of brutality, I mean violence. I mean around 25% of the messages of ISIS shows like explicit violence, killing real people. But the most dramatic part of these kind of messages is that they show violence, they frame violence as a spectacle. So it really looks like something fashionable, something trendy, something popular that could be imitable for thousands of young citizens from all around the world that they are really familiar with that kind of violence because they play in the video games with that kind of violence. They saw the same images in some films and series. So in that 25% of videos of violence, they are framed as a spectacle. And they also have like another 2 kind of messages. One of them is interviews with young people from all around the world. I mean, it's another 25% of the videos is young people from all around the world. Most of them like handsome boys from all around the countries with white teeth. I mean, they are like cool people speaking in different languages why they have joined ISIS, I mean, how nice it is to live in the land of ISIS. And in that sense, they also provide the sense that ISIS is like a grassroots movement. So it's horizontal. So it's not controlled by a hierarchical waves. It's a lot of people. It's more like a social movement, more like a terrorist organization. And they also have like another 25% of videos, which shows the ability of ISIS in fighting in the battlefield, in how successful they are in winning the Syrian army, in winning the Iraqi army, in winning the Kurds, in winning sometimes the event to the coalition. So they want to show the world, to provide an image of a successful army. One of the first messages I think that should be included in the counter-narrative for countering ISIS in social media should be or must be explained to their potential audiences, which are young people from all around the world, that violence is not a spectacle. I mean, that means that ISIS is killing real people with real faces, with the name and surnames and with family. In fact, I mean, in the last 2 years, they have released like 500 films showing, I mean, real execution of people. I mean, 80% of the people they have killed are Muslims from Iraq and Syria, which, I mean, they are real people. I think you have to make an effort in giving voice to the victims, in showing the story of their families or their relatives. I mean, that could be very, very useful. Another powerful message is showing I mean, how ISIS is failing in providing services and providing good governance to the people, I mean, or in the places where they really rule, where they really have government, and especially in Raqqa, in Syria, and especially in Mosul, in Iraq. I think we have to make a real effort showing how disastrous for the economy, for the real life of the Sunni population in that places, the governance of ISIS is. And I think there is also another very powerful narrative in order to counter ISIS is to show the ISIS fighters defeated. I think even more important, or at least as important as winning ISIS in the battlefield, has to be to show the images of the ISIS fighters defeated, how they run, how they escape, how they are defeated in the battlefield. But all of these thematics should be presented, and this is the most important part, should be framed in a very popular, very trendy way. I mean, we have to have the ability to make audiovisual products that sounds familiar, that make cultural resonance to the audiences that ISIS is speaking. That means people from 15 to 20 years old from all around the world, that they are absolutely disaffected with their institutions, and that they find in ISIS like a spectacle, like a way where to canalize their frustrations. So we have to be able to present all these messages in a way that the audiences find interesting, find appealing, and feel even, why not, trendy or fashionable. ISIS is a global phenomenon. I mean, if we want to win the battle against ISIS, I mean, we have to understand this challenge as a global challenge. I mean, it's not a matter of only empowering the Iraqi government or solving the political challenges that Syria faces, but I mean, this has to be taken like this is a challenge of the global community and the international community itself. So I think like institutions like the Club de Madrid or other institutions that work in the field of governance, in the field of putting governments together and to create like ideas for a better governance in around the world should play a very interesting and very powerful role in order to suggest governments, in order to give ideas to the international community to work in the same direction, to work together in addressing the problems from a global perspective, but with the same aim and with the same goals.